also part of the candidates that made it in the UZ election, SRC election of 2018. Currently, right now, I have been issued the portfolio of social welfare and gender, which is a portfolio that seeks to ensure that students on campus and off campus, this in particular is residential students and non-residential students, find student and campus life accommodative at the UZ. I faced quite a lot of challenges whilst I was running for the post of Secretary General in my campaign, because number one, it is a challenge itself for you to stand up in a university that has an average of about 16.5 thousand students and to be able to get votes from all of them, if not most of them, and also to just stand up as a candidate, because there are a lot of things that are involved, and especially in this economic crisis that Zimbabwe finds itself in. And also the other problem that I might say that I cannot ignore is the fact that you are a girl child. And as a female candidate, it is actually a challenge itself, because you'd find out that in the 25 Secretary General's aspirants that were there in this election, only 3 were female. And when it came to the presidential candidates, there was no female at all. So this shows how much of a challenge it is for female students to actually stand up and people to actually believe and support in them, because we have also vices in the society such as the poor who have Down syndrome, and such as low rates in women participation that is there even in the nation, and which is a global concern. So for a girl to stand up and actually say that I can do it and I want to represent students, it is not an easy call, but it is my happiness to say that actually this was conquered by the determination and the self-esteem instilled in me, such that I told myself that I can do it, because I ran an election that did not have a physical poster or a physical flyer, simply because of some of the challenges that were there. I'm one of the vibrant personalities that are there, and I like to be involved and make an impact out there. So I found it upon myself to say that I have represented students in some spheres, in some organizations, in some leadership schemes at school and at institutions, and also as a debate president currently at the University of Zimbabwe. So I found the SRC as a stepping stone for me, and especially for my career as a political science student, to say that I can do it, and to say that it is possible to represent students and to make sure that students are heard. Because the problem that was there, the problem that I saw and I aligned in my manifesto, was the fact that students have made representatives, but then they are not able to speak out for themselves. So I put it upon myself to run by the mottos of student matters matter and power to the students, such that we now do not have a scenario whereby representatives are actually a voice of the voiceless, but then they're actually a voice of the students, because we have all students participating and being actually updated of campus lifestyle and how things go about, such that they're involved. And if they're involved, then with less ignorance it becomes easy to actually tackle issues. So the other challenges that I might have in the office that I'm bearing of social welfare and gender is the fact that it actually does not have like a trend or some reference I can refer to, because the person who was put in office last time is now out of office, and they were removed out of office before they even finished their term. So it is an issue of kind of like starting afresh. But then I found this challenge interesting, because my desire is to work with the students, and if you work with the students and get first-hand information, it actually becomes important. So even though despite these challenges, I still look forward to working with students and making sure that we actually reach our goals and have our resolutions marked off our list, such that we can say that the SRC board of 2018 and 2019 actually made an impact at the university, and they were not just ceremonial. So So part of my manifesto, it was my desire to also engage people who are outside the university, because it is a public secret that at the University of Zimbabwe and most universities in Zimbabwe, it becomes difficult for organizations that are outside or inside to actually have an impact and make an impact because of the centralized systems that we have in the society and in these institutions. So it was my desire to say that when I make it in the SRC board, of which I have, then I can be able to engage the outside world, and I can be able to engage those who are those organizations that are working out there to come and work with the university and with the students, such that students are enlightened on their rights and what they can do. So some of these organizations that are there, especially that focus on gender-based issues, that focus on the welfare of the people, and that also focus on university institutions, are very important to our universities, because they not only help students learn about some particular things, especially maybe on sexual harassment, gender-based violence, on blesses or kubikwa, and also on things, for an example, like the disenfranchisement of women in society and in different platforms. So this can actually help us grow and help us actually not to only learn, but to also unlearn some of the vices and some of the issues that society had actually normalized and adapted themselves into. So some of these would help students learn about their sexual reproductive health rights. And if we are able to teach the tertiary institutions and we're able to teach the learned, it is my desire and my hope that these can actually spread this and actually teach others out there more, such that the word is out there and it spreads. And with that process done, we find ourselves actually going far, especially with this platform that we've been given. I made your recommendations to the universities in Zimbabwe and also to the male counterparts out there in particular is that it is not about gender, it is not about background, but it is about competitiveness, about meritocracy, about if someone can do it. And if I could stand up and say I can do it, that means that anyone can. Therefore, it becomes my desire to make sure that actually girls at the universities are empowered and emancipated, such that in the next SRC election, we can actually have a number of female candidates running for both SG and also for the presidential seat, such that there's a difference between just 3 candidates running for the CA and none running for presidency. So in the next SRC election, I'll make it a point to make sure that we promote, we emancipate, we empower girls at the university, the future female leaders of tomorrow, and to make sure that in the next upcoming election it is actually effective and there is gender equality and gender equity. And I see this as a stepping stone, even though we are far from the 50-50 range of equality that is there. But then the fact that now we have managed to put 2 women in the SRC board at the UZ, it should act as exemplary and as a stepping stone to say we can actually make it, and tomorrow would have an improved board that can be set. So in the next 5 to 10 years, I see myself as someone who is involved in the governance of the nation, because I think ignorance is what kills our nation. So I want to make an impact, and I want to be there to make changes and actually say that I was actually a part of something big that our nation has done. So as a political student, I find this as an endorsement that the students have actually privileged me with, such that I can start this stepping stone, and I can start this journey that I have been given, such that tomorrow I can be able to say that it all started as a youth, and it all started as young. It all started as an idea that I was able to implement into self-esteem and determination, and today here I am. So not only in the political medical field. But then, since there's a thin line between politics and economics, I find that women should be able to empower themselves and empower their fellow counterpart, and actually say no to pull her down syndrome, such that women can actually be the rock of each other. And also, other genders will begin to take us seriously when we find ourselves into business, into entrepreneurial skills, which are some things that can actually help us into having multiple streams of income, and not only degrees that we can only achieve with passion, but also to be able to make an impact out there.